thank you very much. I didn't get any answer about the anti-Semitism, but maybe we'll get later to this subject, because there are a few topics that you raise here that are very important. I start with the ultra-Orthodox. I was the head of the committee that worked on the draft law for the ultra-Orthodox, and one of the main purposes of this law was actually to integrate the ultra-Orthodox in the Israeli society, in the workforce, and in the army. I truly believe with dialogue with the leadership of the ultra-Orthodox, with dialogue with the people themselves, and I think that Israel is now in a very good, condition compared to what was 2 or 3 years ago. And there are many ultra-Orthodox who are now going to colleges, to universities. Many are joining the working force, which I think it's the first priority, to join the men of the ultra-Orthodox to the working force, because I'm sure you know that the women are working like secular or whatever with the same percentage. Regarding the army, there is also growing numbers. There are a few troops that were opened in the Tzanchanim, in Givati Brigade, and I think that the process is going well. We should not disturb the process with changing legislation, and I hope that the Supreme Court, who is now actually discuss the law that was legislated 2 years ago, I hope that now they will not interfere and let the process give fruits first. Because from what we are seeing right now, there is a huge growth in ultra-Orthodox. They are joining colleges, army, and part of the working force, so I'm pretty optimistic regarding that. A few words about the Supreme Court. On Wednesday, 2 days from now, the committee that selects judges in Israel, I'm the head of the committee, but the committee will get together in a purpose to select 4 judges out of 15. I'm sure you know that in the US, the system that chooses the Supreme Court, the judges to the Supreme Court is the politician, the president, the Senate need to approve. In Israel, we have a committee that combine the 3 different branches. We have judges from the Supreme Court, ministers, Knesset member, and member of the Bar Association. We all need to get together and to select judges. So this is pretty a delicate time, and I don't want really to speak now about it. In general, I can say that the Supreme Court in Israel is very strong, very professional. I think it's not conservative enough. You know, there is a battle. It's also a battle in the US between the liberals and the conservatives in the Supreme Court. My mission is to strengthen the conservative representatives. It's something well known. But I think that anyway, the strength of the Supreme Court and its profession, of course, we all have the same goal, to keep the professional of the Supreme Court, the strength of the Supreme Court. My mission, as I see it, is yes, that it will be more conservative than very activist and liberal. Regarding the Temple Mount, you were right. Actually, there is discrimination against Jews in Israel in Temple Mount. It's a well-known fact. Jews are not allowed to pray on the Temple Mount, even not to mumble in the Temple Mount. Unfortunately, this is a political situation. Also, by the way, the Supreme Court criticized this hurting in freedom of religion, of course. But this is the situation from a political reasons. As you know, the government of Israel expects that President Trump will meet his obligation to his voters and move the embassy to Jerusalem. We are not afraid from the hysterical sentence that the Palestinians are trying to spread, and we definitely think that the embassy of the United States should be in Jerusalem, and we hope we hope that President Trump will do what he promised. It was mainly for his voters before the elections. Okay, it wasn't really a question. Regarding the BDS movement, we are aware of that, and actually you're totally right. There is an incitement against Israel and against Jews. You know, I see the BDS movement as just a new form of anti-Semitic movement. It's today still not politically correct to be anti-Semitic, but it's super in, mainly in Europe, to be anti-Israel. By the way, I see the situation a bit better recently. I can tell you from my own experience. I visited Austria last week. I sat for 3 hours with the Minister of Justice of Austria, and we just spoke about our professional issues. I didn't get any answer or remark about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, nothing. Then I went to the University of Vienna, and there were 5 activists of the BDS movement that shout in my lecture, but you can see still that they are a minority, but they are doing a lot of noise. And the state of Israel actually see it as a strategic issue, and in this government we establish, it wasn't established in this government, but in this government we transform a huge budget to Gilad Zardan office, an office that actually aimed mainly to fight the BDS. And this government also doesn't only trying to defend, not just to defend Israel and the Jewish community around the world from the BDS attack, but also to attack back. In my field, by the way, just to let you know, in the judicial field, the BDS movement so far always lost. In any court, in any place in the world, when they tried to sue the government of Israel, they always lost. Recently, by the way, they submit a suit in Chile against the Supreme Court judges in Israel that approve defense, and of course they lost. And they're trying to sue Israel and Israeli politicians all around the world, and so far so good. They're always losing in trials. But definitely Gilad Ardan mission with a huge budget that the government put in the office is to strengthen organization in the field that fighting BDS, and to fight back and not only to react. And so thank you very much for this time. I hope that we'll have more time, and enjoy the visit here in Israel. Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Mr. Michael Schwartz, the head of the Lawfare Project, to make the presentation.
He's the chairman. Thank you.
Minister Shaked, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule to engage in a real dialogue with your friends from the United States. I remember when you came to visit us in New York and we met, and we had a wonderful conversation there too. I hope there'll be many more in the future. This is a very small token of a very big sense of gratitude.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much to you, really. I think you, AIPAC, you are really defending shield for Israel. Thank you.